Hi everyone, it's Helen here and thank you for joining me for today's video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to easily cut your chipboard pieces for your mini album covers, or if you just need to cut chipboard in general. So I'm going to be showing you 3 ways today on how I do it, or how I've done it over the years. So for the first one, all I'm going to be using is a knife here. So this is like one of those thumb knives, so it slips on your finger like that, and I'll do my best to leave as many links down below for that. Or you can use a craft knife. I have one here, or one of those retractable ones as well. I did have 2, but I think Mr. G has stolen them. He does that, so I'm going to be using these today. So this was how I originally started cutting my chipboard before I kind of moved on to the other stages. Okay, so what I have here is a 12 by 12 piece of chipboard. It is 1mm thick, so it's not too thick, not too thin. For me, it's just about right. If you want to go for 2mm, 3mm might be getting a bit on the thickness there, but 1mm is just fine for me. And this will also work on mount board as well, which is super duper I'm thinking the word is dense. It's just a lot denser than the chipboard, which is made from the fibres. I think with mount board it's just so compacted, it's just a bit tougher to cut. Okay, so the first one I'm going to be showing you today is simply with your craft knife and a ruler. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Tim Holtz ruler here. This has a metal piece that runs through down one side. If you don't have this, use a metal ruler. If you go and use an ordinary plastic ruler that I have done in the past, it's very likely that your knife or your blade will cut into this, into the plastic, and then you won't have a smooth track along there. So always try and use a metal edged thing if you can. So I'm going to be making some specific sizes here because I have a couple of mini albums that I would like to make, so I'm going to be needing specific sized covers for this. Okay, so for the first one I'm going to be cutting at 12, so my album is going to be 12 inches high. So I will be referring you back to this video if you're watching a future video for this album that I'm going to be making. So it needs to be 12 inches high, so I have my 12 inches here already. It's 12 by 12, and I'm going to cut it at 6 1/4, and I'm going to need to make 2 of these. So I'm just going to demonstrate just the first one first. Okay, so this is 6 1/4, so make your mark at 6 1/4. Go to the middle. This is very important. Go to the middle, make your mark again at 6 1/4. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, just it needs to be near the middle. And at the bottom, it's very hard to see because of my background, but there you go, that is 6 1/4. So I now have my line, so I can now just join that together. And because this ruler is 12 inches, I really need to keep it perfectly aligned. So let's move that up so you can see. There we go. Right, so I now have my pencil mark just in case I go off track. So grab your craft knife, and basically you just make a series of cuts. If your knife is super sharp, then it should go through relatively easy. There we go. That is how you can cut that. So this one here is the one I need, so I'm going to set that aside. I'm actually going to write 12 by 6 1/4, so I know not to cut into that one because I've done that before. Okay, so now moving on to number 2. Okay, so for number 2, I'm going to be using an old trimmer. You can use your current trimmer if you have one like this, with a blade that comes out just like that. So this used to be my everyday trimmer. I used to use this for everything, and when I needed to cut chipboard, I would grab one of my blunt blades. Here is one of my blunt blades. So this technique is perfect for when your blade has gone blunt and it kind of frays your paper when you cut it, that is when you can pop it aside and keep it just for your chipboard. So I have here the piece that I've just cut. I'm going to carry on with this one. So this needs to be 6 3/8, which can be pretty hard on some of these printers, on these trimmers, because they can sometimes go a little bit funny when you pull out the arm. So actually no, it doesn't need to be 6 3/8, it can be 6 5/8. There we go. I'm alright for this one. I'm getting my measurements all mixed up. Okay, so I need to count 5. 1 2 3 4 5. So it still goes a bit funny actually on that one. This is the fun and games of measuring, especially when you have one of those trimmers there. Most trimmers will have that, unless you have one that opens out. I think the We Are Memory Keepers Score and Trim, that's a complete continuation where there isn't a funny mark. So there we go, I've made my pencil mark now. So that's 6 5/8. So I'm going to pop that in there. And this does have a wire in it as well, so I can just do that. Right, so the trick is with this one is just to go up and down until it comes off. You get a little bit of fraying, but that's fine. It's going to be inside your album if you wrap it or anything like that. Okay, so this also needs to be by 4 1/8. So I can just cut that off. And there we go, super easy. And then this trimmer here, I have another trimmer that I use now for my paper. So this is purely my just for chipboard. If I was to use this blade on paper, it would go a bit funny. Okay, so I'm going to mark this one as well, so I know not to cut it up. So that's 6 5/8 by 4 1/8, and this is another mini album that I'll be making. Now moving on to my third way. I need my chipboard for this. Now this is my paper trimmer that I use for absolutely everything. It is the Fiskars, just reading it here, Fiskars ProCision paper trimmer, and it's a bypass trimmer, so it's more of a guillotine than a trimmer. It has the blade in here, it's a roller blade, and it's self-sharpening, and you can cut fine pieces of paper, and then you can go straight on to cutting your chipboard as well. So let's just see how well this cuts through the chipboard. Okay, so let's just cut this at 2 inches. I'm not cutting for anything now, I'm just literally cutting now for demonstration's sake. Okay, so that has done a really nice clean cut on there. I absolutely love this trimmer. I've had it for just over a year now, and I don't need to sharpen it. It's as sharp as the day I got it. And let's grab a piece of note paper here. This note paper is quite thin. Here it is. Does it tell me on the front what it is? No, it doesn't even tell me the weight. So this is super thin note paper, and it cuts it like butter. I absolutely love this paper trimmer. Now I've had paper trimmers throughout all of the years of my almost 20 years now of paper crafting, and I've been through quite a few paper trimmers. Now this one tops all of them, apart from this section here where the numbers disappear, but I can switch to another paper trimmer when I have a measurement at that gap. It goes up to 13 inches, it folds up, and it lives under my desk on its little shelf, and it's very happy there, and I'm very happy with this one. So that is the way I cut now my chipboard, nice and easily. Let's just cut the pieces I've just cut. So all of those methods there are pretty easy to do, but with the third one it's the easiest. Okay, so if you have any questions, any chipboard or paper trimmer related questions, please let me know down in the comments. I'd also love to know if you found this sort of video useful, and keep an eye out for these albums that will be coming up on my channel very soon. So thank you very much for joining me. Give me a thumbs up if you like this one, and I'll see you again soon.